Fellow builders, welcome back to the shop. Let me show you real quick what I've got set up for a wing jig. I told you earlier in the video that I was going to build a quick little jig, and it took me about a half hour. And I will, and you can actually pick it up and flip it over. And so when you get done working on one wing, I can flip it over and reattach it to the table, and it'll work on the other side. So let me get this angled in. I'll try to move this around as quick as possible. It very conveniently sits on the top of the door frame. And I use, let me bring this down, I actually use quarter 20 bolts, cap heads to go through it. I've got some little lines drawn on the table, and it should be right about there. So anyway, they're little marker lines just to help me get everything lined up, just to properly attach it. Glue. All right, so here's how it attaches. I've got holes drilled out that will actually, I threaded the rod. I threaded the rod. I threaded the wood. So a quarter 20 bolt goes through. You don't need to put a nut in the back side of it. I've got 4 holes. Drilled these 2, fastened them in, and then this one over here on this end actually got, if I can get it started. That's the key part. It's so easy a monkey can do it. Of course, I'm not a monkey, that's why I'm having a hard time. Alright, there's one in. The second one screws in, and then the third one screws in. I'm not going to tighten it down all the way yet, because I haven't. Yeah, what the heck, I'll tighten it down all the way. Okay, that is properly attached. And let me show you what this little gem does for me. I actually epoxied these together. I drilled in, I've got 4 pieces of, I think it's 1/4 inch, it might be 3/16 little dowel rods just sitting inside there, all epoxied in, so it's not going anywhere. This was set up so that when you go ahead and slide the square in, it is true. I mean, it's right on true. So this corner will always stay 90 degrees because once you attach it and bolt it down, it's really not going to move. So and then all you have to do is pick it up, flip it over, because I've got, like I said, these holes are actually set up for a certain distance, so you flip it over, and then this hole, I actually drilled it. There it is. I actually drilled it once it was upside down, and then I checked everything out for square, everything's fine, so I went ahead, drilled the actual number 7 drill bit, wire drill bit, straight down through, tapped it out to 1/4 20, and wicked it with some CA, and then when that dried, I just ran the 1/4 20 tap back through it again. So the jig is set, it's done. What I'm going to end up doing on the front, although I mean you'll see it when I bring everybody back on when I'm working on the wing. This wing is just wonderful. What I'm going to do is have some little stand-ups, and it might just literally be hot glued in. I'll just get a couple little pieces of 1/8 inch light balsa, some little strips, hot glue them into the face, just so I've got something to actually indicate off of. So that way this, you know, will be straight on the leading edge, and then you know this will be straight. It'll be 90 degrees. So at this point, it's just going to be a matter of getting everything tweaked. That's going to be the fun part. because until I get the little all the little sorry about that, the little false ribs that sit up front. This is my, what do you want to call it? I guess we'll just call it a template. It's actually made out of Luan, and it's never going to change its size because I wicked some thin CA into the actual grain. So it's how I made those. If you have seen the video where I actually build a biplane, I still have that little wing jig that was put together. Let me go ahead and show you, because this is kind of like a little building video series. This was what I used. Let me put you back up in the rack. Because what I may end up doing, I may end up putting one video together, a shorty, just on the tools I use. And if you're actually interested in starting to build models, whether it's, I mean, I'm not going with an ARF, because ARFs are, you need a very minimal amount of tools for ARFs. But if you want to build a kit, you want to actually build from a set of plans, or if you just want to go ahead and design your own, because I've done that with foamies. That was my foamy addiction. You're gonna need to actually have certain tools for each thing. Now this is the Luan, and as you can see, that was my little list of what I actually needed to build. So that's what I actually used. So anyway, here's what you did. You took balsa or light ply, whatever you needed to go ahead and drill. I would actually put them together and just put a little tack of glue, or just wrap it with some tape. Normally it was just a little couple dabs of glue on the outer corners that were going to be cut off anyway. Then I would put them down, stack it, and then I would run in. There's a couple different ways to do it, but I normally just run over to the drill press real quick, because you know the drill press is actually going straight up and down. You don't have to worry about it wandering off to the side. And then just say that this was what I was going to make a piece out of. I would put this part on the top and run the drill right down through the holes in the middle. This was 1/8 inch bamboo. That's those little stirring sticks you see me use all the time. Those you can pick up at any, pretty much at any grocery store. So once those were actually drilled in place, you'd slide them down on top of this, and then you would slide this piece down on the top of that, so that everything was captured together. Then you just run over a TE old cheap little bandsaw, cut around the outside. You get really close to the edge. You don't want to really touch the edge, but you want to get really close just to minimize your work. Then as soon as that was done, because this had CA wicked into it too, so it's still solid. And all you do is you just come on in and hit it with a sanding block really lightly over the top, because these little pieces were actually cut out when you were over at the bandsaw. So all you have to do is just sand over the top of it, and it was done. So it took me about a half hour to put together, because all the wing ribs on the top and bottom wing, I what do you want to call it? I bastardized the kit, or the set of plans, because I wanted it to have top wing and lower wing ailerons, because the plans only had lower wing ailerons, and I was just looking for a little faster, a little better roll performance out of it. So I morphed, I kind of modified the whole set of plans on the build to work with the lower wing. So what I had to do is I had to make a whole bunch of little adjustments in my little pea brain on how to do it. But this was what I used to cut out all the ribs. It took me a half hour to make this, and about 45 minutes to cut and sand all the ribs. If I had not done it that way and tried to do each rib one at a time, it would have probably been 4 to 6 hours easily. So not only did I save a lot of time, I also got the consistency in the ribs, which made everything really easy, even when it came time to cover it. Because hopefully you're watching my videos. When you see the video, you're going to see the view of the top wing when I was shooting across it. To this day, I base all of my builds off of that top wing, because that top wing came out perfect. And I took the time to make it come out perfect. The Piper Cub, if you saw the build on that one, that was a rush job. I did that in two months in about 3 weeks. And that was, I was trying to rush it to get it ready for an air show. And so it wasn't meant to be a hangar queen. It wasn't made to sit there and look pretty. It was made to fly. And I've probably got 250, 300 flights on that plane in the past. Nah, I'm not going to go that high. Maybe 200 flights in the past 3 years. And that's another one of those planes, when you take off with it, unless it's a really bouncy, windy day or something with a heavy crosswind, you know how it's going to fly. It's when you fly it in a crosswind situation for landing, or a day where it's really turbulent, that it can toss that plane around and it'll do things you are not expecting. So you can't panic with it. But there's times that when you're done flying, you have to go sit down, just because you got your heart pumping. So anyway, back on this. Enough about me. All right, so this will come in. I've got the root ribs hanging over here on the wall. The root ribs are all glued up, solid. What I need to do is all of the, and I did this intentionally, I undersize cut all of the, come on, there we go, all of the spots where the spar is going to join, the spar joiners. I made them smaller than they needed to be, because I want to actually sand them out so that they fit nice and snug. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of play in the fuse, because this one here, if you see, let me take you back off and zoom you in. I hate to do this to you, because I'm having such a hard time editing these videos, because there is just so much stuff I want to tell you about, but so much stuff I think you're just going to fall asleep. But anyway, real quick. So that's the way I work. If you see the tolerance back here, there's probably a 30-second gap on this side, maybe a 64th on the back side. Up here in the front, on the top, it's about a 30-second. On the bottom, it's about a 1/16 of an inch on the back side, and it's about a 30-second on the front. I had to do that to make it so that I can slide this thing around inside to get the front in, because the tolerance is so tight on the back. I've got to slide this thing as far forward as I can to get it to rotate for this hump, and then let it go back. So that's why this could be a little bit tighter than up here in the front. So once this actually gets glued into place, I can fix that so that the gap will be covered. I'll just you know, whether it's gluing it in with epoxy or gluing it in with some thick CA. It'll probably be thick CA. I'll go ahead and just have a little bit flow underneath it and just shoot it with some kicker, because this spruce itself is really oily, and the newer it is, the more oils want to be released. So super glue doesn't really particularly care to attach to, excuse me, doesn't really care to attach to spruce, just because of the oils in the wood. So that's where my dearest companion, 91% isopropyl alcohol, I actually wipe the wood down first. So that way you're pulling the oils just from the surface of the wood, so that it's got some tooth when you put the CA on top of it. And in my big biplane that's been alive for 10 years now, that one's rock solid, and that was how I put this one together, because I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to have to wait and hold things in place for epoxy. So I will be using mostly CA on this, because I've got a long way to go. And here's all the little nose ribs. You can see how badly they were built and repaired, and that was why hopefully you're seeing these. I'm not just not throwing them, and this is why I had to cut them all off. I mean, that was why that whole leading edge of the wing was bent down, because those were just jammed in. He cammed them in and it pushed it down. So I've got this pretty straight now. It's bent. When you look at it, it's looking pretty good. And that might be I can kind of tweak. Let me see if I can get down low. I can kind of tweak. I can tweak this end up when I glue the new new nose ribs in. I could pull this up. So I need to put a spot where I can actually get some measurements to see where it's at. So I can fix this when I put the new nose ribs in, and I've got a stack of them somewhere ready to cut. So I've got to run these things all out. I've got one cut out just as a test piece, and these as well are actually cut with a little bit less tolerance so that they can be moved, so that they can be rocked, moved forward, and then shove them in there and with a little bit of thick CA, some kicker, and lock everything in place. So yeah, once again, I got my work cut out for me, and this is just wing number 1. I haven't even really started to dive into wing 2. I'm really hoping, because most of the leading edge of that wing is actually in pretty good shape. Looks like the very end, the wing tip was actually involved in a crash. So if that's all I've got to do, is just bust that one piece off and maybe even just reskin it. I don't know. I mean, it's looking good. There's one rib. Sorry about that. There's one rib that I will be replacing, probably the whole rib, and it's the same one as the one I had to replace right there, because it's beat up. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. That one might be salvageable. This one, I love the lights inside this place. And just in case you were wondering, this is a 7-foot ceiling. I'm 6'5", so this comes down. This comes down about 4 inches, and you know, there we go. About another 4 inches or so, so 8 inches, 6. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, so I'm about 4 inches from this light, and it's kind of a pain in the ass being tall and having a light this low. But right now it's my light, so and it works good over the bench. It just doesn't work good for video. So anyway, enough of me babbling on and on, and I got work to do, and hopefully you got video to watch. So so please, guys, if possible, subscribe to the channel, or even just bookmark the channel and just check from time to time. I've got about 200 and something people that get that every time I put a video out, I just send them out release, because they actually they like watching the videos. But I'm hoping there's a lot more out there that might get interested in building again, because it's becoming a very lost art, and it's something that most people probably wouldn't find the enjoyment in. But if you fly RC planes, once you build your first plane, you will have respect for that plane, because you know how much time and effort it took to actually build that plane. My big biplane, that's my Hangar Queen. It gets flown 2 or 3 times a year now. And it's not that it flies any better or worse than it did 10 years ago. When I get to the field, it's 30 plus minutes to assemble it, 30 plus minutes to take it apart. And if you get 1 flight, maybe 2 flights in max, that's an hour's worth of work just once you get out to the field. So that's why most of the time she just sits in the climate controlled basement, happy as a clam. But this bird is gonna get a lot of flights in once it gets put together, because I really don't have the room. I don't really have a way of getting it down into the basement because the biplane is a quarter scale and it's hard getting it down there. This one with the turnaround going down from one level to the next, I don't know if I can make it. So this one's gonna, you know, I don't want to say it's gonna spend the summer down here in the shop, but it's probably gonna spend the summer down here in the shop. So anyway, enough babbling again. So I'll see you guys on the flip side. Later.